Breaking Bad is one of the greatest shows of all time, and it's packed with pickups, workhorses, and desert-worn machines that tell their own story. In this video, we're diving under the hood of every truck that shows up in Breaking Bad. And what better way to start than the Chevrolet El Camino? Now, you probably know that Jesse Pinkman drove this in the movie. However, this vehicle was actually owned by Todd Alquist before Jesse stole it. So, what's its story? Well, this pickup came at a time when Chevy stopped chasing glory and started chasing survival. Why? Because in 1981, America's V8 roar was fading under the chokehold of EPA regulations. The golden age of muscle was wheezing. And, in the middle of it all, the El Camino did something wild. What did it do? It tried to be everything at once. A car, a truck, a workhorse, a fuel sipper. And somehow, it kind of worked. Just not in the way anyone expected. Let's start with the design. The 81 El Camino wasn't about curves. It was about shoulders, bold and angular. At 206 inches long, it wasn't just big, it was intimidating. Same length as a modern Tacoma crew cab, but without the plastic. And here's the part most people forget. It shared its DNA with the Malibu coupe. That meant a smoother ride up front. But out back? A bed that could still haul half a ton of concrete without flinching. Now let's talk engines, because 1981 wasn't just the end of an era. It was the year American horsepower went on life support. Just 11 years earlier, the El Camino SS had 450 horsepower straight from the factory. By 81, your top spec was barely beating out a modern Honda Civic. So, what happened? Two words: emissions control. Specifically, GM's new Computer Command Control System, CCC, tried to save the environment, but it murdered the thrill. Necessary, maybe. Satisfying? Not even close. There was a silver lining, though. Torque. Good old-fashioned torque. That V8 may have sounded weak on paper, but it still made 240 pound-feet of twist. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Out of 36,000 built, only a fraction remain. And even though the 81 El Camino wasn't fast or efficient, it sure was honest. For guys who believe a truck is a tool, not a toy, this was the last of the breed. While the El Camino was trying to be everything at once, this next Chevy knew exactly what it was. The 1977 Chevrolet C-Series Fleet Side appeared in Season 2. So, what made it special? You see, in 1977, gas was cheap, and the American truck was king. During this period, the C-Series wasn't just a truck. This was the truck, the one you saw everywhere, from construction sites to convenience stores. Why was that? Well, it was all because of the fleet side bed. This was Chevy's answer to the toolbox hauling American dream. Clean, smooth side panels, and a wide, flat load space that didn't care what you threw at it. But that wasn't all. Underneath, you had a frame made of high-tensile carbon steel, stronger than most relationships. It also used a drop-center design, which gave it two things trucks rarely had back then: a low step-in height and extra strength to laugh in the face of payloads. And this truck didn't ride like a hay wagon either, because Chevy gave the models an independent front suspension with coil springs. This was a game-changer back then. Smoother ride, better control. The C-Series Fleet Side also did something rare. It earned respect the hard way. Ford had flashy ads. Dodge was getting wild. But Chevy? Chevy stayed stubborn. All engines ran on carburetors, with good old-fashioned distributor ignition. No computers, no traction control, just timing, torque, and the sound of an honest V8 breathing fire. But the real magic wasn't under the hood. It was in the attitude. Chevy didn't just bolt these trucks together. They built them like they meant it. Standard front disc brakes gave you stopping power where it counted. Need to haul a camper? They had a package just for that. The Camper Special added stiffer springs, stronger shocks, and sway bars that laughed at potholes. And the crazy thing is, it's still showing up at auctions, car shows, and county fairs. Why? Because when something is overbuilt and undercomplicated, it outlasts trends, rust, and time itself. But as we know, trucks evolved fast, and in 2007, Dodge dropped a monster on the market. This is the 2007 Dodge Ram 3500, driven by Gus Fring's men. And let me tell you, this mega cab isn't just a pickup, it's a rolling fortress. Not only that, it's a family hauler and a workhorse all rolled into one. But what does mega cab even mean? Well, this wasn't just a marketing gimmick. It was the biggest cab you could get on any pickup in 2007. With 4 full doors and rear seats that recline, you could fit 6 adults in comfort. And this beast came with an all-new engine for 2007. It was called the 6.7-liter Cummins Turbo, and it delivered 350 horsepower and a stump-pulling 610 pound-feet of torque. The Cummins was famous for reliability and the ability to tow just about anything you could hitch up. Whether you were hauling hay, horses, or heavy equipment, this truck was built to take abuse and keep going. But this wasn't just a bare-bones pickup. The mega cab could be optioned with leather seats, navigation, and even dual-zone climate control. This pickup is a legend for a reason. It's the truck you buy when you need to tow the big toys, haul the whole crew, and still want to show up in style. Dodge brought the brawn in '07, no doubt, but by 2012, Chevy had fine-tuned the formula. This is the Chevrolet Silverado, driven by Walt's competitor. This pickup was built on the GMT 901 platform. What does this mean? Simply put, this generation of Silverado wasn't trying to reinvent the truck. It was trying to perfect it. It promised dependable performance on the job site and just enough comfort to keep your commute from feeling like a penance. But here's the thing. Underneath that calm exterior was a machine that walked a fine line between tradition and transformation. Under the hood, the Silverado usually packed a 4.8-liter V8, which delivered some solid numbers. It wasn't earth-shattering, but this pickup wasn't just about peak power. It was about usable grunt, the kind that kicked in when you had a trailer full of lumber. It wasn't the fastest, it wasn't the flashiest, but it showed up every time. You see, older trucks rode like shopping carts with bad wheels, but in 2012, Silverado did something else. It brought in an independent front suspension with coilover shocks, a setup that actually smoothed out the bumps instead of magnifying them. And when you step inside the Silverado, you're not met with leather and chrome. You're met with logic, analog gauges, bench seats, and dials you could operate with gloves on. So, why was the 2012 Silverado special? Well, it came at a time when trucks were changing, getting softer, smarter, and more suburban. But this Silverado, it didn't forget where it came from. But before trucks got smooth and tech-savvy, there was this legend. This is the 1982 Ford F-250 Super Cab, driven by Walt himself. You see, in order to be discreet about his cooking, Walt and Jesse go to the houses undergoing fumigation. So, why this truck in particular? Well, 1982 Ford did something special with their F-250 Super Cab. This was a rig that bridged the gap between hard work and family life. It had just enough room behind the front seats for your crew, your kids, or your hunting dog. This truck wasn't about flash. It was about getting the job done, day after day, year after year. This 7th generation F-Series was actually nicknamed the Bullnose. Why? Because of its squared-off front end. It was all about function over flash. It looked tough, because it was tough. And the Super Cab? It was made for real life. You got 2 doors up front, a bit of extra room behind the seats, and 2 fold-down jump seats in the back. You see, Ford didn't build this truck with one type of guy in mind. They built it for every kind of job, from weekend warriors to cattle haulers. So, why is this pickup so beloved? Well, it was built before things got complicated. No chips, no screens, no software updates, just steel, torque, and trust. Which pickup do you like the most from this list? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more.